happens when you colonize very smart people? The Japanese conquered Singapore during the Second World War. This made it a Japanese colony briefly, but after Japan lost the war, Singapore was taken over by the British again. The British merged them with their neighboring country, Malaysia, in 1963 in some sort of independence. So now the country of Malaysia had the Malaysians on one side and the Singaporeans on the other side. Problems started immediately. Ethnic tensions, racism, tribalism, and bloodshed shot through the roof. In addition to that, their other more powerful neighbor, Indonesia, declared some sort of military war against them. Indonesia allegedly started sponsoring violence within Malaysia in such a way as to cause tension between them and China. The Singaporeans protested that the constitution drafted for them at independence was very discriminatory. It gave some specific privileges to Malays. The Malays were in power but appeared to be generally not as educated as the Singapores. So, from day one of the independence, they were concerned that the economic center of the country will eventually drift to the region of the Singaporeans. The president of Malaysia, being an intelligent man, thought of a solution to this problem. One of the key Singaporean politicians convinced him that the best for their combined future is to split the country. They both agreed, but they had one more problem: the British. The British had merged them 2 years earlier. They may not allow them to break up. So what was their solution? They selected top elected senators on both sides and put them in a super covert meeting where they worked day and night to create massive changes in their conditions such that it will allow their country to be split. Why was it secret meeting, or why was it a secret meeting? So that once they are done effecting their changes and executing their plan, they will present the British with what is now known as fait accompli. This simply means, boss, we have already split the country. Sorry, we didn't tell you on time. Nothing else you can do. On the 9th August 1965, the Malaysian parliament, which involved senators from both sides, voted to let Singapore go. What was the vote count? 126 versus 0. That is, all the senators that voted that day voted for separation. That was how the Republic of Singapore was created. After separation, much of the international media attacked Singapore, predicting that they will relapse into poverty and perish in penury. Even though Singapore was a very poor country then, it had a very important resource: super smart humans. The very next month, they applied and joined Commonwealth nations. To lift itself out of poverty, Singapore created an industrial estate in one of its own town called Jurong. Then they baited foreign investors with huge tax incentives. This single-handedly transformed the nation's economy. Singapore has no natural oil deposits to take advantage of the global oil boom. They managed to convince Shell and other big oil companies to build oil refineries in Singapore. Singapore's next major problem was housing. Its people were very poor, so they built small houses that were prone to fire. To solve the problem, Singapore set up a housing development board. This board used money the government made to start building multi-level buildings. The government then allowed its homeless citizens to own flats in these new buildings and pay in installments using their compulsory savings accounts. The British pulled out their troops from Singapore in 1971. Singapore needed to build its army. So what did they do? He secretly contacted Israel and asked for help. Israel covertly helped them to establish their armed forces. What was the result of all these fundamental changes? Today, Singapore is arguably the best country in the world. Their GDP per capita is 65,000 In comparison, Nigeria's GDP per capita is a $2,000. Even as an oil-producing nation, Malaysia's GDP per capita is $16,000. You can imagine. And Singapore is now 65,000. Nigeria with all the big whatever they call it. Oh, our population this, our population that. This is a food for thought. The only thing you will hear Nigeria politicians or those who are calling for the selfish one, they'll be telling you, oh, go and check Sudan, go and check this one after they break up, this and that. But they will not use the good examples. They will never. This is just what is playing out now. And I don't even understand those who are saying, see, you have done something for a very long time. It's not profiting you. And you still want to continue with that. And you know that there's no end in sight. There's no headway at all. And you still want to continue. What does that, how do you describe yourself in that manner? They will not see all these examples though. They will begin to use those ones that have failed, but the ones that have failed, they will not use the ones that have made it. They will not use them as an example. You can imagine. Now, wow. I don't know, because even with what we are saying, we know that there is deceit. They will tell you, if Biafra leave, what is your problem? Let them go. People who are depending on oil, with all our oil now we are crying. They will tell you that the price of oil has dropped, this and that. But those who do not have oil, see their per capita, the GDP per capita is a $65,000. We will be saying this in on 2,000. Okay, nice write up. But in Nigeria, the free food will not allow the lazy northerners to use their head. After oil finish, they will now ask for separation and start using their own resources. Even if read and interpret, if you read it and interpret it in Fufude, Buhari and Fulanis in the National Assembly will not understand. Show it the power drunk people in Nigeria. Show it to them. This is exactly what I am telling people. Life will be better than this. Let us split. Singapore had the erudite Lee Kuan Yew, and he performed wonders for his country. Do we have those ones? This one that we have, it's all about cow. All about cow, because they have an intention. They have an hidden agenda. This is the best thing, Biafra. Size does not match. Truth, wisdom, and determination does. Do away with fear and false belief. Agree on the obvious and take positive action. The bed is yours, and as you make it, you lie on it. Others are spectators. Good cause. Nigeria should take a cue, as that step would ensure rapid development as well as create enough employment opportunities. So guys, let's hear your opinion on this matter.